Mental health, addiction, and sobriety go hand in hand. Your sobriety and your recovery depend on your mental health, and your mental health depends on your sobriety and recovery. Sometimes our mental health can actually push us back towards the addiction, or we can relapse, which just feeds the mental health issue over and over and over. It's a really vicious cycle, but today I want to help you break that cycle once and for all. So if you're getting sober, if you want to get sober, if you want to just level up your life, this video is for you, because we're going to talk about how to make your mental health game that much better. Welcome back to the channel, everybody. I'm Clark, and I'm so happy that you found this video, and I hope that you watched the entire thing because, like I already mentioned, today we're going to talk about mental health awareness in sobriety, in recovery, both before and after. And to make that possible, let's just talk about some tips and some ideas that can help you take your mental health more serious so that eventually all those feelings and emotions tied to your addiction no longer hold any sway over you. First and foremost, let's own our addiction, and let's own all the feelings and emotions that come with it. Let's talk about the anger, the fear, the hopelessness, the depression, the sadness, the anxiety, the highs and lows of it all. There's no need for us to keep it all locked up in this dark cell of shame and guilt. And by talking about it, we kind of expose it to light, and that's how you heal something. And by being willing to talk about it and being vulnerable, we can actually educate others both in the recovery world and outside of it. And by talking about it, we can kind of start ending the stigma around mental health in general, but also mental health within sobriety, within addiction, and within recovery. Because knowledge is power, my friends, and the more that we share with others, the more they learn, and the more that they share with us, the more that we learn, and ultimately, we'll find out that we're not alone after all. And speaking of support, this is tip number 2. A huge part of your mental health in general, whether you have an addiction or not, is to seek a support system. A therapist, a grief counselor, friends who understand what you're trying to do, fellow sober friends who've been through it before, support groups, hotlines, whatever it is. A place where you could be seen and heard and validated about your experience in the past and in the present. And even be validated about fears and worries you have about the future. Because let's face it, if you're in addiction recovery, if you're trying to get sober, sometimes a constant fear is the fear of a relapse. The fear of a relapse happening can just slowly erode away our resolve to stay sober, because we get so stressed out about the idea of it, or we get so afraid of it happening, that eventually we kind of self-sabotage and manifest the relapse to happen. So at least if you're in a place with a support group or a support person, whatever it is, you can speak about these things and they can help you work through it and let you know that ultimately you're going to be okay if you just keep working at what you're trying to do, which is not just staying sober, but doing the mental health exercises and sobriety exercises to take your recovery to another level where you don't even have to fear a relapse ever happening ever again. And then the third tip is just kind of an extension of that. So surround yourself with a support group, but also within this, it's also good for your mental health to take alone time, to be by yourself, to do some work on your own. I know oftentimes in addiction recovery, we're afraid of being by ourselves because it's the most vulnerable time where we actually have to deal with the feelings and emotions and the voices in our head, the whys of the past that got us to this moment that made us want to give up addiction once and for all, or even the voices and the reasons why we even started having an addiction in the first place. And I know that it can be really scary, the idea of solitude or being by yourself, but some of the most powerful work that you can do for your mind, body, and spirit is the only work that you can do when you are by yourself. And support groups are great, family's great, loved ones are great, people that support you are amazing, but sometimes the silence of your own home, a safe place for you, is so healing and so good for your mental health. It's almost a vital thing that you absolutely need. So definitely find a balance between taking care of yourself mentally within a support group, but also supporting your mental health outside of a support group. And then my final tip, and kind of in closing, is I think one of the most important things for your mental health in sobriety and addiction recovery is that you don't make your life about it. Our addiction and our struggles with whatever it was, let's be honest, it was about obsessing about something. We were obsessed with getting drunk. We're obsessed with numbing out. We're obsessed with tuning out or turning our brains off. So be careful in sobriety and recovery not to obsess over all of it, because that obsession about trying to stay sober or doing all the right things, going to the meetings, finding a sponsor, reading all of the right books, not drinking a week from now or a year from now, it can kind of drive us crazy, and ultimately that can kind of drive us back to that addiction, which is what we don't want to do. So just know that you are not your addiction. And your life does not have to be about your addiction. And you're also not your recovery, and therefore your life doesn't have to be about your recovery. It doesn't have to become all of who you are, and it doesn't have to become all that you talk about or all that you do, because that can take a toll on your mental health. You are more than all of it. Sure, it's been part of your journey, but it doesn't have to be the rest of your life. And maybe you don't even believe that right now, and I totally understand why, because I didn't believe that for a long time. But if you just hold on to that sliver of an idea that you are not your addiction and you are not your recovery, I think that that could open up your mind to the possibilities of becoming fully recovered someday, where you don't even think about any of this stuff. You're more just grateful for the journey and where it brought you and what it taught you. So just keep all of that in mind, because your mental health matters, and awareness around it all is really, really important, because it's such a key part to overcoming addiction and eventually becoming fully recovered, which I totally believe you can do. And if you want to talk more about any of this stuff, hit that like button. If you found this video valuable, I hope that you hit the like button, but I also hope that you share it with someone that maybe needs to hear it. Don't forget to leave your sober date in the comments below, but more importantly, let me know in the comments what kind of topics and ideas for videos that you would like to discuss. And finally, I hope that you'll consider subscribing to my channel, because I really appreciate the support. And of course, don't forget to hit that bell. That way you're notified every time I release a video. Until I see you again, I hope that you'll check out that video right over there. And I really appreciate your time and support. I'm Clark with The Sober Web, and I'll talk to you really soon. Bye.